playing at least one game for each character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's the challenge I set myself at the tail end of last year. I've been streaming my progress on Twitch, and now I've decided to start documenting this journey on YouTube as well. We started this challenge with Mario, and we'll be ending it with Sora. Hi! We've reached a very special episode. Today, we're looking at a game for Kirby. Kirby is one of my favourite franchises of all time, and Kirby himself is one of my most beloved characters of all time. He's had so many adventures over the years, from chasing mice to exploring mirror dimensions, to facing off against a cult dead set on reviving an ancient primordial being of darkness. And wouldn't you know, he recently had a brand new adventure on the Switch, and it's his first mainline 3D adventure. One of the reasons I started this series was to broaden my horizons and play games I haven't played before. Though when the opportunity to play a brand new Kirby game for this series presents itself, I'm going to take it. So hold on to your warp stars as we explore Kirby and the Forgotten Land. While Kirby is traditionally a 2D platforming franchise, Kirby and the Forgotten Land brings Kirby to 3D for the first time in the mainline series of games. Kirby has experimented quite a lot with 3D recently, with games like Kirby Blow Up Blast and Kirby Battle Royale, so it's great to see them fully embrace it for a core adventure. And honestly, the transition to 3D was borderline perfect. Many staples have transitioned over from the 2D games, but quite a few haven't. For example, menus have been simplified to the extreme. What was once the go-to for the lore dumps and minigames have now been implemented organically into the game through the brand new hub area called Waddle Dee Town. That brings us nicely to gameplay. A staple of the series is Kirby's power to suck up enemies and gain copy abilities. While most modern Kirby games would have over 20, Forgotten Land brings the total down to 12, and they have far more simplified movesets compared to their 2D counterparts. But this didn't hamper things nearly as much as I expected. They felt very purposeful with what abilities they chose to bring to 3D. Tornado and Needle feel way nicer in 3D than they ever did in 2D. And as you progress through the game, you can upgrade the copy abilities through scrolls you find to more powerful forms. This helps keep things fresh. Though these upgrades lead to a lot of downtime that I know will annoy a lot of people, every time you return to Waddle Dee Town, you are bombarded with text as you try to upgrade your ability. It never bothered me too much though, as it just felt like part of the game to me, but I know it will be an unnecessary annoyance for many. A new mechanic introduced to Forgotten Land is Kirby's Mouthful mode. This new ability allows Kirby to... it's kinda hard to explain. You kinda put things in his mouth and takes their shape, granting him new, somewhat disturbing abilities. Some are related to what he swallowed, like Car letting him drive and Lightbulb lighting the way, but others like Ring and Arch are more about the shape Kirby takes, letting Kirby blow out air and glide through the air respectively. I think these make for a great way to mix things up. My favourite is Water Balloon Mouth Kirby. I just love the way he jiggles about and bounces around. It is the peakness of adorable and I wouldn't have it any other way. One big new addition that completely changes the way you play the game once you learn to use it is Kirby's new dodge. This move is incredible, and the game barely tells you about it. When you dodge an enemy with the right timing, the game enters a slowdown state that gives Kirby an opening to attack. It reminds me of Witch Time from Bayonetta or the Flurry Rush from Breath of the Wild, but less potent. This move is especially useful against bosses, which in this game are incredible. Bosses have always been a highlight in Kirby games for me, and this game is no different. I don't think there's a single stinker in this game. They're all incredible. The obligatory tree fight has especially seen an upgrade in Tropic Woods, as he actively tries to protect himself and launching Kirby away, with Kirby having to dodge his vines and coconuts to get close. One of the biggest highlights in this game for me was the fight against Meta Knight in the Colosseum. A simple test of strength to see who's stronger. It's so thrilling and fast paced. The flurry of attacks he throws at you made my heart race first time fighting him, and he rarely stood still, making him hard to hit. Mastering the dodge definitely helps with this fight, and bosses only get harder as you progress through the game. Some of the bosses later in the story even took me multiple attempts to beat. And oh man, that story! The story immediately starts with intrigue. Kirby is enjoying a pleasant day flying around Dreamland when suddenly a giant rift opens up in the sky that begins sucking up everything, including a bunch of Waddle Dees, even Bandana D, and of course, Kirby. Traveling through this rift is what grants Kirby his new mouthful ability. On the other side of the rift, Kirby arrives at the titular Forgotten Land, a place full of abandoned buildings overgrown with vegetation. It's stunning and intriguing. After getting past the tutorial area, Kirby discovers that a group of wild animals called the Beast Pack are kidnapping all the Waddle Dees that was transported to the new world. He also finds a strange new creature called Elfland being chased by the Beast Pack. After saving Elfland, the two team up to rescue all the Waddle Dees and find out what the Beast Pack wants with Elfland and the Waddle Dees. I won't go too deep into it as the game is still very new, but suffice to say, the game gets wild in the best ways in its endgame that many Kirby fans have come to expect from the series. By collecting figures hidden throughout the game, you can learn more of the backstory of this new world. The levels do a lot of the heavy lifting in the world building of this game, and it's amazing. These are some of the strongest levels in any Kirby game. Sure, you still have your basic grass, beach, ice and desert, but the seemingly apocalyptic setting of the game adds so much more to the intrigue to the levels. Abandoned malls, London frozen over, theme parks, the wastes where life began. It's just all so cool and awesome names. The game has a fixed camera so it knows exactly when to show off it with amazing views. The levels are such a joy to play through. They are full of collectibles to discover. Each level has Waddle Dees that can be rescued by finding them in cages or completing tasks in the levels. These are hidden at first, but they reveal themselves as you progress with them. Any completely missed task is revealed upon beating a level, which encourages replayability. Though, I recommend waiting until beating the game to collect missed Waddle Dees to avoid burning out playing the same level over and over. The other collectibles in the levels are the minifigures. These serve the same purpose as the keychains and stickers from past games, and can even be compared to the trophies from Super Smash Bros. Some with their own descriptions which make great rewards for performing little tasks in level. Levels are full of secrets. Some are still being discovered, and there are whole hidden runes in some levels. One in each world has been discovered so far if you're interested in looking them for yourself. On top of traditional levels, you have side levels called Treasure Roads. These put you to a test using specific copy abilities or mouthful mode. Each of these levels are designed with them in mind and can prove to be a genuine challenge, especially if you're aiming for target time, though target time isn't required for 100%. Beating these levels unlock rare stones. These are used to upgrade abilities in Waddle Dee Town. In isolation, I think these levels are great. But every time you beat a main level, you unlock one or more of these treasure roads. And I always felt obligated to beat them so I could get the rare stones so I could upgrade my abilities. But in reality, all I wanted to do was play the next level, as it did feel like it broke the pacing a bit. Of course, you could just go to the next level, but then you'd miss out on upgrading abilities. There just didn't feel like there was a right time to play them. Before I move on to the game's presentation, I want to quickly touch on two things I haven't mentioned yet: co-op and difficulty level. I didn't touch these at all. I stuck with the harder difficulty and parts of the game still felt easy. And I didn't have a friend for co-op. Though player 2 gets access to a playable Bandana Waddle Dee, and I couldn't help but wish player 1 could also control him. Okay, so as I said, time to talk about presentation. And of course it looks pretty. I already mentioned before that fixed camera is used to give us fantastic views in the game. Seeing how overgrown everything is after the old world was abandoned is just gorgeous. And in some locations, even haunting. The effects and lighting really add to the atmosphere of a lot of the locales. The only graphical downside I noticed was the enemies that are far away have noticeably lower frame rates. but that means nothing to me. More impressive than the graphics is the music. Now, I have a very high expectation of the music in Kirby games, because frankly, I think Kirby games have the best soundtracks of all of Nintendo's franchises. Forgotten Land matches that expectation and includes so many bangers. The Meta Knight theme, Sword of the Surviving Guardian, is my personal favourite song in the game, and has become a definitive Meta Knight theme in my head. Moonlight Canyon was also an instant banger. And of course, the game kicks off with the banger of the song that serves as the main theme, New World, a lyrical song sung in the game's fictional language. A song I'll admit I thought was Japanese and kept wishing there was an English version. Oops. But seeing Car Kirby bop his head to the tune should be enough to tell you how good it is. Kirby has and always will be a joy to play through. I welcome this much needed new era of Kirby with open arms. I actually also played Kirby's Adventure Wii with the mindset of comparing the start of one era with the start of the next, but I think Forgotten Land was a game that deserved the spotlight on its own. Plus, I kinda only played Kirby Adventure Wii because I needed another game to fill out the time until Forgotten Land came out. I can't wait to see what the pink puffball does next. Forgotten Land came out super recently on Switch, so if you're interested, it's easily available. I had so much fun with this game, and in the end, that's what gaming is all about. I look forward to revisiting this game frequently in the future. Whew! Kirby's video is done. That just leaves Fox's video and then I'm all caught up. The decision to make videos on these games came way later after I started streaming them. To the point where I was way ahead with my streams compared to videos, and the time between playing the game and actually reviewing them felt far too long. So I decided to take a break from streaming until I was all caught up. Just the thought of finally being caught up has me excited and motivated. If you want to see what game I have planned for Fox, be sure to subscribe, it definitely helps the channel. But until next time, bye!